so-called Decentraland, everything is decentralized. Even this is just for show. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Innovation Engineer podcast, your favorite place for picking brains of your favorite engineers. So grab your favorite nerdiest mug, fill it with a beverage of your choice, and enjoy. My name is Tarek.
And my name is Waschi. And I have a question for you, Tarek. Should I buy NFTs? You know, they're like, everybody's talking about it, like in my company Slack channel, like even in the anime channel, they're like, oh no, anime is overtaking NFTs now, and the apes are losing. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? And then like my product designer, my team is saying, yeah, I'm putting all my savings into crypto and buying NFTs and stuff. And I'm like, are you fucking insane? You're kind of an engineer. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. We have not a single week where we do not have any news about NFTs. Everything is about NFTs, and it's not that new, but it's still some kind of cryptic topic where everybody has kind of an opinion, but nobody really knows what it means. And so I think it's a very, very good topic and a very good question if it's a valuable investment or if it's at the end just a scam.
Yeah, I know. So like back in the days, so like let's say 2018, 19, when crypto became more mainstream, we did some talks together about blockchain and stuff. And what I did is like buy Bitcoins live on stage. So I did it like 3 times. So we did the talk like 5, 6 times, but I only like bought Bitcoins live on stage with my smartphone like 3 times. And the thing is, like I wiped the phone with now backups of my wallet, like the typical beginner mistake. So and I not only did it once, I did it actually twice. So
perfect.
Yeah, so you can excuse actually the first time, but the second time is what the hell are you doing? So
right.
Yeah, so I just like my display broke. I got a new phone. I just like, I'm transferring stuff, and then I delete the phone because everything is in the cloud, right? All my images. Right. Why should I care? Well, I learned like a day later why.
Yeah. We probably have to rethink our handling of devices and data now that all of our assets are then stored somewhere with the key on the phone. We need to rethink this. Yeah, but if we talk about NFTs, I think the first thing that we have to understand is how the blockchain is actually working and where the difference is between an NFT and the classic blockchain or let's say Bitcoin application. And when we talked about blockchain, we always said blockchain is basically something like a very, very slow distributed database. And something like a Bitcoin does not really exist because this thing that we call Bitcoin is simply a balance of transactions. So I sent you a Bitcoin and you sent me a half of a Bitcoin, then the balance of this transaction is what you actually have in your wallet. And with the NFTs, it's kind of the same but different because we are not talking about the balance of transactions anymore, but actually about a token. A value that is stored as a value on the blockchain assigned to your name. And this one is then called non-fungible token because this is a token. This will not be changed. This is like a constant living on the blockchain assigned to your name. So this is the difference between a Bitcoin transaction and what we now call an NFT. So it is actually something on the blockchain that is then belonging to you. And because it is unique, it is one value, one unique identifier that is on the blockchain, it is scarce. It only exists once. And we people, we say, okay, everything that is scarce is automatically valuable because it only exists like one time, right? And so we want to have it. And so this is why NFTs are valuable. And I want to buy it from you. And so I give you $1 million so that you assign this one particular scarce item to my name. This is the philosophy of NFT.
Okay, question. So as I have no clue about NFTs, so I know a little bit blockchain and crypto, but NFTs, is he actually in the token? Is it stored binary data of the image, or is it like a link to the image somewhere?
This is one of the critical questions. I can't speak for all the NFTs and all the marketplaces and everything that exists, but in general, it's really just a token. It is simply a key value pair where this token is assigned to your name, and then the actual item, the actual image or sound file or whatever, is then stored somewhere centrally on a server. Yeah. So if you want to access it, you have to access a completely centralized system wherever. Yeah. But the blockchain is basically just the system that controls the ownership. It's like a ownership ledger that assigns you to this particular identifier. And this is one of the biggest problems, and why people say it is kind of a scam, because you're not actually having this item on the blockchain. But I think this is not really how it is intended to be. You do not use the blockchain to store the actual item. Yeah, it's like when we talk about, for example, registering houses. Yeah, I'm not sure what the English term is for this this register, where if you buy a house, then your name is then introduced there, like Grundbuchamt. Yeah, you do not store your house then in this database. It's just this entry where the address and the size and your name and the date and everything is stored. This is the data that is persisted and that proves that you are the owner, but the house is a physical asset living somewhere else. And with the NFTs, it's the same. You buy this JPEG, and this means you buy something attached to this JPEG, not the JPEG itself. And this is we are already in the question why NFTs do not really make sense, because it's nowhere really defined what it is that you buy with the purchase of this NFT. Because at the end, you are purchasing this token on the blockchain, and this token on the blockchain does not have any legal connection to the item itself. For example, there was this person who bought the Nyan Cat, this Nyan Cat GIF for, I don't know, $600,000 or something. But it's not really defined what this actually means. He does not have the intellectual property of this GIF. He can't send me an invoice because I use this GIF somewhere on the internet. And there's this recent example where I forgot which platform it was. There was a platform issuing NFTs with artists, for artists, like, I don't know, Mick Jagger, and you were able to buy the Mick Jagger whatever NFT. And then Mick Jagger said, don't quote me, I'm not sure what artists were involved. I just remember this article. They said, how dare you selling these NFTs without consulting us, the artists? And the answer was, I'm not selling anything that belongs to you. I'm not selling your songs. I'm not selling your pictures. I'm just selling this NFT. And this NFT is just an entry on the blockchain. Yeah. So he claims, or this platform claims, we are not violating any intellectual properties because we are not touching anything that is protected. The blockchain entry, the NFT, has nothing to do with you. But the buyer, on the other side, thinks, wait, I just bought this Mick Jagger NFT. What exactly do I own now? And this is exactly the problem. Nobody can really answer what you're owning. And if you want to hang like your favorite, what's this called? These ape NFTs. Yes. You want to hang it on your wall. Technically, you do not have to buy the NFT to make a printout and hang it on your wall. So there's not really a connection. Nobody can sue you for printing out this picture and hanging onto your wall.
So coming back to the Nyan Cat, so I don't get it. Who can actually sell it, and why would anybody buy it for like hundreds, thousands of dollars?
So the original author of the Nyan Cat wanted to jump on this train, and so he said, I have this GIF. It's mine because I created it. So why not sell it as an NFT? And so he went to this marketplace and said, okay, this is the token for this NFT. I'm the owner. Who wants to buy it? And someone bought it, transferred the money, and then the blockchain entry went in ownership to the buyer. The buyer bought the code, what's it called, like the hash code, the ID in the blockchain, and this is what he bought. But that's it. the intellectual property technically still remains with the artist. And this is probably with most of the other NFTs that you're buying or you're seeing. The intellectual property is disconnected from the NFT, because usually you have something like a contract. Yeah, you have a contract, a buyer's contract, and in the contract is exactly regulated what you are buying. And this might be something like the right to license or sub-license something, or the right to copy something, yeah, with copyrights and everything, or for duplicating or whatever, yeah. And this is part of this contract that you are signing with both parties, where you pay something and then those are the rights that you're getting. But with NFTs, you don't have don't have any legal documents that transfer the property rights or the intellectual property from one person to the other. And this blockchain representation of this item is some arbitrary value, and it has no legal background. Yeah.
Yeah, this reminds me of the good old days with Diablo 2 and like later World of Warcraft, where also like my friends saying, "Are you stupid? You are like buying virtual stuff for Diablo on eBay." And it was like, yeah, but I'm getting like items for my character, which are really rare, and I'm selling on the other side other items I found. So until like Blizzard made it illegal, but also like one of my friends who played like World of Warcraft when it came out with me, he was like Europe's best kind of healer, and he had this super famous staff. He was the first in all of Europe. There was like in America, there was in Asia, like one who got it before him, but like his account was like worth €1,000 back in the day. So it was like he sold it on eBay, and it's like virtual stuff. Obviously, the same is true of Second Life, but in the end, you get an item in the game, so you can use it. So there is like even kind of like virtual transaction, not only like in name, but you really got something.
That is true. In this direction, you could argue that virtual items in computer games are more real than what you buy with the NFT. But because exactly as you just said, you can use this item then, and before you bought it, you were not able to use it. So there was an actual transaction based on the legal rights within the game. So the game inside has actually a legal system for purchasing and transaction of these items. So there's a real system. With the NFTs, it's completely unregulated. It's basically just buying stuff for fun, yeah. And it does not really have any impact on ownership or usage rights or possibilities. And even with this argument, we now move everything into this so-called Decentraland. Yeah, everything is decentralized. Even this is just for show, because the blockchain does not really contain these items in most of the cases. As I said, I'm not sure if there is a blockchain somewhere where people start adding like images or something as binary code. I didn't see this yet. What I saw is only this ownership is in the blockchain, and then you have to access some server somewhere to actually see the image. If you actually have to do it, because most of the stuff you can already download from wherever, even from the Google cache. Yeah, you go into the Google image search, and oftentimes the images are already there. You can just access them.
Yeah. It reminds me of CryptoKitties. I also like when blockchain came up. It was labeled a game. That's a good thing, right? There were no like mistakes in like I'm buying art and stuff. It was a game. So you could buy like CryptoKitties, which are kind of cards, which have like values, like playing not really Magic the Gathering, but like these car cards you have, like where you can play like most horsepower, fastest speed, and so on. And that's the same with cats. So you had these cats, and you could like breed them. So when they mated, like two cards could mate, and you have like the next generation. So obviously there was like an origin generation, like generation 1, 2, and 3, and obviously way more later on. And the lower generations had higher value because they had more uniqueness in them, because they were very distinct. So I bought one of the generation 2 cards or whatever. It was like €50 for a digital cat. Bought in Ethereum, by the way. So I still have the key for my Ethereum wallet. So I still own technically I have some spare Ethereum and a CryptoKitty somewhere. The thing is, That was the first NFTs, and it's just like worth nothing anymore. I'm not even sure I could sell the CryptoKitty. So, and I know it was a game. It was kind of an experiment, but this was like a different amount of money. This was already an expensive cat I bought, and now there are like people who buy like thousands of euros seem to be common with NFTs. It's like totally a scam. It's like gambling. I could go to Las Vegas and have a higher chance in making money there than most likely with NFTs.
Yeah, CryptoKitty is another great example where the rules are clearly defined. You buy this kitten and you can breed it and you can resell it. It's everything defined. You know what you get for your money. There, I always ask myself, why do I actually need a blockchain for playing this game? If the game is the focus, you could handle everything on a CryptoKitty server. And with this, you wouldn't have these enormous transaction costs and delays that you have on the Ethereum blockchain, where people were not able to buy and sell the cats because the transactions took for forever, or they actually had to pay a lot of money simply to perform this transaction of buying something. Yeah, not the price for buying the kitty, but the price for buying, for doing the purchase itself, like the fee on top of this. Yeah, the gas that you pay for doing transactions on Ethereum. And this is very inconvenient, where you might think, okay, if I'm a game designer and I think I want to make this game great, I wouldn't do this on the blockchain. But I know it was on the craze of Ethereum, and it was basically a showcase for showing what great things we can do on the Ethereum. But in this case, it does not really make sense. From the perspective of NFTs, it is a great thing to do, because there you know what you get in comparison to the crazy ape NFT, where I have no idea what I just bought. Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure if people would play the game if it weren't based on the blockchain, because then it might not be fun. Yeah, and people were actually expecting the game to generate revenue, because the very valuable kittens might increase in value and they can resell them at some point in time, or if they actually had fun playing the game. I'm not sure. Did you see CryptoKitty as a game or as an investment?
Well, neither. I just saw it as like kind of a stupid thing, which was funny. So, and I don't agree with you on the part of you could do it otherwise. The fun part is that the like genetic algorithm was running in Ethereum. So it was a smart contract. So, and it generated a new kitty with like an algorithm which was stored on the blockchain. And that's the same with some apes. It's not only like you get a token, but for example, there's this famous YouTuber, JomaInTech. He also like now has his own NFTs, obviously, because everyone wants to monetize whatever he can. And he's selling 2,000 special apes this time. And when you buy an ape, it's generated by a smart contract, so it's randomized.
Yeah, but you can run the smart contract on a centralized server. I mean, the only reason to run a smart contract on the blockchain is because you do not have trust that the entity that is performing this operation is not manipulating this. But if you have no interest in manipulating this, it is kind of a game, and the algorithm simply randomizes the features. There's no necessity to actually have this on the blockchain. Now, if
you are the owner, so that's the thing. If it would be a centralized system, then like the owner could abuse it, and this way you can't, because you own it, right?
Yeah, but it is very expensive. Yeah, and that's. I mean, if this is actually the issue, and if I say, okay, I'm willing to pay $1 million for this ape because I know its features were generated on the blockchain, okay, great thing. But I think, okay, if I simply want to have a random generated ape, and I can get it for €5, but it's generated on a centralized server, I'm not sure if this is if I had a problem with this.
But you know what defines the value of art?
Scarcity?
No. Like it's just the value of art is defined by the highest bidder. That's very easy.
Yeah.
So how much is like a picture or like any art actually worth? How much any is willing to pay for it? That's as easy as it is. That's capitalism, and it's the same with the apes. People are willingly to purchase them for a higher price because of whatever reason. It's like psychology, right? So it's not like an engineering fact. You're totally right. You could do this on a centralized server. I mean, with like all the Blizzard games where you had digital like items you could buy, resell, whatever. Obviously, this was centralized, and there was no sense in making this go through like a blockchain because each transaction would be expensive. But if you want to make each item as expensive as possible by design, then it makes sense to make it harder to transfer, harder to buy, and so on, because it's making it worth more. But still, I think 100,000, or even if I would now go and buy like a stupid ape or an anime NFT for like 5,000 euros, this is like gambling. This is insane. So I invest a lot in like stocks, and I know investing in single stocks is a stupid idea. So normally I do ETFs, exchange ETFs. Exchange traded funds. Yeah, so because that's like, if you're an engineer, you think in objective terms and numbers, you look into those numbers, see how volatile is it, and you realize, okay, NASDAQ sounds like more like a niche investment, but actually from the numbers, it's less volatile than a global index, the MSCI World, for example, just going by the numbers. The rest is like your gut feeling, but like the global index needs to be more stable than like a single American one, but the numbers tell you otherwise. And if you're an engineer, you believe numbers, and which is like the difference in thinking slow and thinking fast, the famous book by Daniel Kahneman, which I can recommend here. And it's a lot of people I know who are like super engineers and are like thinking really in objective terms, and they're coming to me, yeah, Waschi, are you investing in crypto or buying NFTs? And I like, why would I? That's like insane. Even like, I think cryptos, this is like a bubble. You don't know when it will burst. It's like even Warren Buffett said it, compared it to the .com bubble, to the housing market and so on. He says, you had like in 1900, you had like 2,000 car companies. How much are still there? Like 20 worldwide, and they belong to 3 mother companies in the end. So this is like consolidating the market. And if you like invested in the early days of the car market, you had a 95% chance that you lost your whole investment. And the same is true with like cryptos. So a lot of my friends there think, did you invest in Tezos? They were like, what? Like they came up with any new kind of cryptocurrency I've never heard of, and they are not. So I could understand if you invest in kind of Bitcoins or Ethereum, because this is like what's more stable, but that's not where you can make money. So nobody's investing in those. They're investing in strange stuff.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah,
but they lose their reasoning somehow.
Yes and no. I mean, what you say is totally right. And the market or the bubble can burst at any point of time. So if you are investing with a goal of creating a great revenue in 10 years from now, because then everything, your Dogecoin will be super, super valuable, then it's probably a bad idea, because all this hype will probably not survive for the next 10 years. But there are people who actually became millionaires by playing around with this stuff. So there is a really huge market right now for crypto and NFTs. And exactly as you said, because people want to buy it. There is a demand, there are buyers and sellers, and so you can buy stuff and you can sell stuff and you can become rich this way. So there is obviously the market and potential for great things. And I wrote down the numbers. In 2021, there were 44 billion US dollars in the NFT market. 44 billion US dollars. And I think the highest selling NFT was sold for $91.8 million. Someone paid $91 million for an NFT without, it's just an NFT. So it's wrong to say NFTs are not valuable. Because exactly as you said, it is as valuable as someone is willing to pay. And in this case, this NFT was $91 million worth. Yeah. But it's totally right. If you expect that you can then resell your $91 million NFT for $1 billion 10 years from now, you're probably wrong, because in 10 years, the hype will be over. Yeah? And nobody is willing to pay $1 billion for an entry in a blockchain that might not even exist anymore.
Yeah, but this again reminds me of the .com bubble. There were so many people getting rich very fast when investing in stocks and like internet companies without thinking about if it's worth anything or not. And a lot of people became rich very shortly, in a very short time period. It's the same with NFTs or even with blockchains. You gamble, you can make a lot of money. And the end result, like 95% lost everything they invested in the .com bubble. And it's the same here. So everybody who now owns an NFT. So we have now this Ukraine war where Russia invaded the Ukraine. So it could have happened that the whole NFT bubble burst because of this, and everything lost their value. And this is like an thundering herd effect. So if it just a single piece breaks, then everything will fall apart, because everyone will jump out of the game. So as long as everything or everyone is super optimistic, prices are rising, investors are putting money into it, because currently with like the finance market, everybody has too much money. It's even like if you're a startup, like getting funding is like super easy, and you get insane amounts, just for like 5 slides of PowerPoint deck is enough to get a funding nowadays, because there's so much money in the market. That's why like a stupid investor just buys an NFT for an insane amount of money. And again, he can lose this within a single day. And
right.
It's volatile, super volatile. So nobody who wants to make money, like who's like investing his own money. Obviously, venture capitalists, they are not investing their own money. But if you invest your own money, you should not buy NFTs. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, the smart people are those, or the lucky people are those who had a few transactions in the very beginning and made a lot of money. And then they are happy, and then they can retire. What is a very bad decision is to be so thrilled by this success to reinvest everything that you have back into this blockchain, and buying more NFTs and more Bitcoin and everything, and do not stop, right? I read so many stories about people who were so flashed by their success in Bitcoin investment that they said, I liquidated everything that I had. I took my house and all my money and reinvested everything in Bitcoin, with the expectation that he will get more and more and more money out of this. And I have no idea if this worked or not, because for now the bubble did not burst yet. But this is probably a very bad idea in this volatile market. I think the biggest winners right now with the NFTs are the artists that are really simply creating something for the NFT market, and they sell it. And they are the winners because they get cash out of it. And then it's done, right? They have no risk afterwards, unless then, I don't know, the legal wars start when afterwards, when all the money is gone, people say, yeah, but I did not really get anything for my money, right? What do I get now? And probably they won't have luck, because there is no legal basis for anything of this. And so these artists that are getting rich right now by selling NFTs, they are the lucky ones. But before this podcast, I opened like a random NFT marketplace, and I took a look at what is sold there. And right now it's really simply random generated stuff. And I do not want to offend any artists who are actually creating art and selling art, but there are already NFT generators on the market, and I can use this to generate my own NFTs. So it generates 1,000 unique smoking goldfishes or something like this.
Yeah, apes.
I mean, for me, my Tarek NFTs. As an artist, I click the button and then it generates smoking goldfish.
Yeah,
they can generate unique. This.
You don't do apes,
and I have
you do goldfish.
But I did not even have to do it. I just downloaded the NFT generator, and it generated 1,000 arbitrary smoking goldfishes. And then I upload this to this marketplace, and I say, okay, each of these fish is now for sale in this auction with the starting bid of $800 or something like that. And I wait for people buying these smoking goldfish images. Yeah, and this is what I see right now on this NFT marketplace. And so I'm wondering if 2022 might already be like the end of this NFT craze, simply because the market might already be oversaturated. And I'm not an art, what's the word? A lover of art. I have no idea about art. But if I see this marketplace with all this crap on there, I do not expect people actually going shopping there. I buy the smoking goldfish there, and I buy this crazy ape there, and I spend $500,000 because it's so great. There's so much crap on this marketplace. It's with the CryptoKitties, yeah.
But let me ask you, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you create your goldfish, your smoking goldfish, and sold them on the marketplace?
I should, I mean, you're totally right. I should just try it tonight.
Yes, that would be awesome. Then if you do it, we will do another episode, because I really am curious if you can make money that way, right?
Right, so, yeah.
Because, I mean, there are people who like just forked Bitcoins, made a minor change and sold like 1 million of their tokens, or like even with Ethereum, you can very easily make your own tokens. And they sold them, like instead of like selling for your company stocks, an initial stock offering, you have an initial coin offering, and they got millions in money. That's like super insane.
Yeah, right. And that's why I'm always pushing this term scam. Because on the one hand, you're not doing anything wrong. You're putting out a product and someone wants to buy it, and so you sell it. It's a transaction. It's totally valid. But from the other perspective, it feels like a scam, because it's simply snake oil. You're generating something and someone feels good about it and gives you money for it, even though it does not produce any value. And that's why this is like this gold rush, and everybody's jumping on it and tries to make insane amounts of money, but you're not actually buying anything. Yeah? And maybe this is why I'm so reluctant in jumping in this game, because for me it feels like a scam. It's really like, it's easy money, but someone is losing this money to me, and I'm not sure if this is really the way I want to make money. It feels like stealing.
Yeah, but think about it. You're actually Robin Hood, stealing from the rich, because most of the money in the NFT market are venture capitalists who just buy stuff, right? It's not private people you are scamming. It's like actually the finance market. You're doing some anti-capitalist thing while selling it to like capitalists.
Right. I'm the poor one, so I'm stealing from the rich and giving to me as the poor.
Yes, I'm Robin Hood. Correct. Well, you can donate. You can always donate. That will always like work out, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. But you're telling me, Waschi, don't buy NFTs. If you want to make stuff, then sell NFTs, right? That's what I'm taking with me right now.
Yeah, I mean, of course. If you produce NFTs, you can't actually lose. Yeah, you produce them, to put them on the marketplace. Maybe something happens, maybe not. If you have too much money and you want to play with this, and you want to actually find out what the craze is, and you want to simply play around, you can do it. Yeah, take a low amount of money, buy some NFTs, and look what happens. No big harm there. If you expect to actually get something from your purchase, like buying the NFT to Michael Jackson's Thriller or something, and you expect that afterwards you have like the licensing rights for the song, then don't do it, because the NFT is not actually a binding contract regarding anything with intellectual property. Don't do it. If you want to have like a printout of your favorite crazy ape and you want to put it onto your wall, you do not need to buy the NFT. The NFT has nothing to do with this image and the printout on your wall. So in this case, also don't do it. And if you expect to have a valuable investment for the next 10 years, which will then explode, this is debatable. I personally, and I think you, Waschi, as well, don't see this as like a stable investment for the next year because it's so volatile. But other people might disagree. Most of these questions, I personally answer with no. It does not make sense to buy it. And the only answer is the only answer to yes is if you have too much money and if you want to try it out and play around with it. Or if you're an artist, then it makes sense to touch NFTs. But all the other scenarios where you actually expect something great to be happening, it does not make sense.
Yeah, and I see, like what you said, a huge wave of lawsuits coming, because if this bubble bursts, then people will sue other people. That's what always happens, right? That happened with the .com bubble. That happens all the time. And I think especially in the US, the legal system is a little bit different. So I think in Germany, suing for this kind of stuff would not work, but I can imagine it working in the US. So I'm really keen on seeing how this goes, actually. So if really people say, okay, I bought the Nyan Cat and I actually am the owner. I want to like get license money if others use it. And especially if like he cannot resell it anymore, this may happen, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And I mean, maybe this is going over very quickly because if there's really no legal right attached to it, then it might not even reach the courts because they say, what are you suing for? There are no contracts that could be disputed, right? And there's nothing that is to be debated. No property, no intellectual property changed the owner. There's nothing to debate.
I don't agree. I don't agree, Tarek. So there is a thing called a verbal contract, and this is like a proof that there was a verbal contract. So, and I'm not that sure. So there is something which was transferred, and it was attached to kind of an image, and then the court will rule what was actually sold. And obviously the seller and the buyer will tell you different stories, but in the end, there was a verbal contract.
Okay.
And the judge will need to interpret what was actually sold.
Okay, that's totally fine. You might be right. And if one judge actually makes a ruling in a certain direction, this would then, of course, open the doors for 1,000 other people jumping on this and referring to this one particular call from the judge, right? And then everybody wants to take this. Yeah.
That could make, by the way, your NFTs worth way more or lose all weight. Worse, sorry. Lose all
true.
Worse.
Yeah, right. And then it will be a new gold rush for attorneys, because then there will be like this hunt for NFTs and lawsuits to get more money out of this.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
So do you actually own cryptocurrencies? Like not NFTs, but like in the end, it's a token. Do you own other tokens which are not NFTs?
To be honest, no. I started registering for Coinbase and some other wallets, but I am not enjoying. It's a good question. I am very fond of innovation and this architecture and the technology behind this. I have no interest in gambling. I do not gamble. And exactly as we said before, it feels like gambling. So buying Bitcoin is not like, it does not feel like a smart investment or any other currency. And so this is something where I really have to force myself to do it if I start doing it. It's nothing that I really enjoy. I'm not playing around with money. And so I never start doing it, and it might be that that's the reason why I'm not rich today. Because if in 2009, I would have started mining Bitcoin, I would be a millionaire today. But I don't enjoy playing around with money.
Yeah, I know multiple people who like kind of founded their own companies through Bitcoin money and who still have some multiple Bitcoins as like a backup for the company. And if there are some hard times, they even sold some of it. So I know 3 companies in Berlin which did this, where the founders actually had a lot of Bitcoins and used those, or like half of this, to like pay the employees and hire new people, and grew actually to really valuable companies.
Yeah, and they are
because they as engineers, they jumped on the train very early and became a little bit rich, not really rich, but a little bit rich, because they had like 10 Bitcoins, which is was then enough to like, I don't know, rent an office for like 2 years.
Yeah. And I mean, technically it's not too late yet. Bitcoin is still alive, even though it should not be from my point of view. But it's still alive, and people are saying the value will still grow for a while. So it might still be possible to buy in and get some money out of it. But I'm not sure if I really want to. Yeah.
So now you said Bitcoin should die. This is kind of a big thing to say, you know?
Yeah, I from a technical point of view, this is a different discussion than the NFT discussion. But Bitcoin was this original architecture based on proof of work. And as you know, proof of work costs a lot of energy to calculate, the hash codes. And with these huge mining industry where people are buying power plants to power their mining rigs to basically print money, this burns so much energy, that it's literally killing our planet. And that's why I say this cryptocurrency that simply exists for existing, it's like an arbitrary thing that we think that we created, and it burns so much money, like a country. I think what was the latest number, like Argentina or something, the whole country of Argentina. That's the amount of energy that the Bitcoin network burns. And from this point of view, this should be forbidden. Or like we need to change this. We have to like make forced fork or something and rebuild this thing. Ethereum, I think Ethereum is trying to do the same with Ethereum 2, where they change the proof of work to proof of stake. And if we have something like a massive network of Bitcoin, this must be mandatory. We should not be allowed to maintain this Bitcoin network in the state that it is right now.
So I don't totally agree with you, because it's good to save energy and to do something for the planet. That's what I totally agree with on all levels. But the other thing is arbitrary stuff. Everything a human does is kind of artificial, right? So internet, emails. So how much energy are we burning by producing television shows? It's like insane. So why is a television show worth more than like the Bitcoin network, which could help humanity on another level? Because decentralizing, taking money from the rich, actually enabling everybody on the planet for a more equal society. So if you aim for this like ideal thinking case, whatever, then it's a good investment.
And you're totally right. And this is a spectrum. My initial thought was, of course, if we are talking about food, for example, we could say producing meat is very bad for the environment, so we should all become vegetarians. This could be argued, but food is essential. We need food to survive. And so we can't simply stop producing food. And entertainment is, of course, somewhere on the spectrum. We as people, we need some kind of entertainment. If we need to produce these TV shows, okay, it's debatable, but it's somewhere on the spectrum. But cryptocurrencies is so far away from the necessity that it is easy to argue that it is completely arbitrary. But yes, even if we say it is necessary to maintain this invest of energy is completely out of scale. This is completely unnecessary, because we can get the same results with so much less energy investment, and that's simply insane. If I think about a car, and I drive this car to get from point A to point B, and I say I need this car, okay. But if this car burns like 100 gallons of gas per kilometer, then I would say, maybe buy another car. This is crazy. This is not the right way to get from point A to point B. And this is Bitcoin. Yeah, we get from point A to point B by burning like the same amount of energy like this country of Argentina. This is not correct. Don't do this.
Argentina is not producing that much energy because it's not like the industry nation. And coming back to the car, one of my friends, he's driving a super old car, which is taking like 500 gallons, most likely. And all the friends are arguing, you are like driving this old car, which is burning so much fuel. Are you actually against the environment? Do you want to destroy it kind of because you're driving this car, which is worse than an SUV? And so on. He's saying, well, look, I'm an engineer. Those are the numbers. This car, if I would buy a new car, would be so much worse for the environment than just driving this car produced in the 80s for another 20 years, because this is more environmental friendly, because the production is taking way more resources than the fuel I'm using. And there's the other theory that energy, like not fuel, but energy itself will become like unlimited in the future. So if you go by this theory, it doesn't matter if we use a lot of energy or not. It only matters if it helps society improve. And maybe like a decentralized currency could improve it. I don't think so personally, but this is like the theory.
Yeah, and you're right. And when we reach this point where energy is unlimited and clean and we can burn as much as we want without hurting the planet, then we can make the Bitcoin algorithm as impractical and wasteful as it can be, but we are not there yet. This power plant that I read about, this is a coal power plant. It burns literally coal to power Bitcoin rigs. Yeah, and this is the reality that we are living in right now, and that's why I say right now this is the worst thing that we can do, and we people are so stupid to actually do this, and this is where the lawmakers come in and they must interfere, because as you're totally right, if I calculate for myself how much do I have to invest to replace this car, and it does not make sense because buying a new car is way more expensive than paying for the gas. This is fine. This is my economic decision. But if like our elected officials who run the country want to save the environment, they have to intervene and make laws, or even maybe pay some substitution where they say, okay, you should exchange your car. We actually give you some money as incentive to do this because this is the right thing to do. And sadly, the usual reaction is we have to make energy more expensive so that Bitcoin mining, for example, is not profitable anymore. And yes, this is one way to address this issue, but this makes energy more expensive for everybody else as well. And that's why this is like another problem that we add to another problem. And this is not the best thing to deal with this problem.
Yeah, China forbid crypto mining, right? They were like the biggest mining country worldwide, and they did forbid it because like they have a lot of like environment issues, a lot of coal power plants, and it was really bad for the country actually.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they changed. I remember that they introduced some laws. I'm not sure if they created something like a governmental like a law that only the government is allowed to control the mining rigs or something like that. I'm not sure if they completely banished Bitcoin or crypto mining, but I remember that they introduced some regulation.
We will check it and put it into the show notes. Right. So if any listeners interested in what China did, you will be able to read it.
Exactly. Yeah. A crazy story. And I think we can fill like 2 or 3 more podcast episodes with this topic.
Yeah. It's really hard to explain blockchain without having visuals, like just explaining it via your voice. It's kind of hard to understand, actually.
Exactly.
And by the way, I'm still thinking about buying an NFT. I'm thinking for weeks now because like one of my favorite YouTubers, JomaInTech, he has like this 2,000 apes. And even if I could just download it and put it to my wall, there's a difference in like how you feel if you like really know you kind of own it. It was created for you. You're the only one knowing it, and I actually want to support him. So I know he's doing great stuff. I want to support him.
Right. And this is probably, and maybe we should add this to the list of use cases where you actually should buy an NFT. Because as you just said, you want to support him, then this is, of course, a great way to support him. It's like a donation, but you get a t-shirt out of it. In this case, you don't get a t-shirt, but you get an NFT. And I remember that even the World WWF, what is it called? World Wildlife Federation. They created NFTs for endangered species, where you were able to buy like a endangered species. What was it? There were species where only 500 animals exist anymore, and so they created 500 NFTs for these animals. And it might be a little bit macabre.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird because it's like living things that you create, that you map to the blockchain. But the idea was exactly the same thing. You buy this NFT, and by buying this NFT, you are donating actually money to the WWF. Yeah, and so it's the same thing. Yeah, it's for a good cause. Buying NFTs for a good cause.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if you think about donating to like an artist, and actually the money you are just putting like thousands of euros that are actually a donation, that makes sense for me. I can accept it.
Exactly. But I doubt that this person who paid $91 million for this art piece wanted to support the artist. I'm not sure if this was the case in this scenario.
We need to put like something also in the show notes to show what actually he bought, if we can find it on the internet.
Yeah, I saw it. It's not really pretty. It's an image of a ball.
Yeah, that's art.
That's art, of course, yeah. Right, normal stuff.
Yeah, right. So, okay. I think it's time to wrap it up.
Right.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any like suggestions, what could be like the hot topic in engineering we should talk about, please leave some comments, ping us anywhere where you like. Otherwise, see you next week again with like your beverage of choice. Mine is still coffee.
Water.
Yeah, it's also very healthy.
Yes. I hope.
Okay, then bye. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.